The main two countries that are going to cause the biggest problems, more than the US, of course, is China and Russia. So with the Russian attack, or the ISIS attack on Russia this last weekend, Russia has turned to blaming Ukraine. And we all know that it's nothing to do with Ukraine. We all know it's to do with ISIS that went and attacked and murdered more than 130, 140, I'm not too sure, people in Moscow. Meanwhile, China is banning US semiconductor chips in its government computers, government IT. And that is going to have an impact overall on the semiconductor arena, because China is a huge importer and a huge customer, consumer of semiconductor chips. So that will impact obviously things like AMD, Intel and Nvidia if they do export to China, which I'm not sure if they do. I need to check into that. But overall, China's policies, whether they're political or economical, have gone wayward. In other words, since 2008, what China actually had was a growing fast track economy. Subsequently, since then, since Xi Jinping has come in, what's happened is that they've changed the policy and become more aggressive towards the West, and they've gone a bit wayward. Now, the economy is shrinking with rising youth unemployment and reducing manufacturing and reducing retail sales. The property sector is in complete disarray, and there's whole ghost towns in China, and that will go on for years until they redirect themselves and realign themselves as to where exactly they're going economically. So overall, China is in a particular difficult situation, and that will impact the West. Furthermore, when Trump gets in, or if Trump gets in, when Trump gets in, then there's going to be a trade war between the US and China, because Trump wants to rebuild the US where Biden wants to effectively destroy the US. That's the difference also in those particular policies. So Biden has been in bed with China for the last few years via Hunter Biden. And even with that, there's still antagonism between China and the US. When Trump gets in, there'll be a trade war. He'll put sanctions on China, and that will cause further volatility economically and obviously in stock markets. So overall, China and Russia are particularly problematic. Russia wants to elevate and escalate its war with Ukraine, blaming the ISIS attack. And everyone knows that's a load of poppycock, because ISIS has nothing to do with Ukraine. But Putin is looking to find any excuse in order to attack Ukraine in greater intensity. And it may find it in particular ISIS attack. But everyone knows that is propaganda and totally fake. So as Russia descends into a further escalating war in Ukraine, and also in the Middle East, and China descends into economic disarray with its wayward policies, why is the US, or how come the US is growing? Because the US is growing through government spending. They've just increased another 1.2 trillion in government spending. So the US is not really growing. What's happening is that the US is government and federal spending is keeping the GDP up there. Employment is up there because they are taking on government jobs, a lot more employees. But realistically, the underlying below surface state of the economy in the US is pretty poor. You can share, subscribe, comment. More than happy to help. This is Velenski with Driving Markets. Catch you later.